Hello, my name is Steve Munson. I'm the old Civil War guru on the YouTubes. And today I'm down here at the Battles of the Western Theater Museum in historic Bardstown, Kentucky. And during all this virus situation, what I'm going to do is shoot some videos. We're going to post them on the museum face page and kind of whet y'all's appetite for some of the great historical items we have in our museum. And so we're going to start with this gentleman right here. This is Edward Irvine McDowell. He was captain of the 15th Kentucky Union Forces. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about him just for a second, and then we'll move up and look at all of his artifacts that are on display here at the Battles of the Western Theater Museum. Now, this gentleman was from a historic, prominent Kentucky family, the McDowell family. And that's no relation to the McDowells in Virginia area. But this is quite a character. He was a young guy. He joined right here in Nelson County, down in New Haven, which from Bardstown, that's about 20-25 miles. And he joined it early, and he went in as a sergeant. Then later he was elected as a lieutenant. Then he was promoted to captain. And he was aide-de-camp to a Union general. And then his ill-fated situation happened in 1864 at the Battle of Resca, Georgia. And he was killed. He's actually almost cut in half by artillery fire. And on his 1850 foot officer's sword, you'll see where shrapnel hit it right there below the guard. So what I'm going to do is move in and get close-ups of what we got of his personal artifacts. And right now you're looking at his officer's uniform and his waist belt and his sash and his gauntlets. But we have several items of his, and I'm going to move up and we're going to get close-ups of them, just like he was on a tour of the museum. So I'm going to turn the camera off and we're going to move up and get up close to him. All right, now here's the display of Captain McDowell's, and here's his bio information, and I'm going to leave the camera on that so you can take your time reading it. And he is also engaged in some other battles. He's engaged in the Battle of Mumfordsville, Kentucky. That's when Braxton Bragg came into Kentucky in '62. He is engaged at Perryville in the 15th Kentucky, was at the famous Bottoms House. And then back down to Tennessee at the Battle of Stones Rivers. Then he did the Tullahoma campaign. Then, of course, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, Ringo, and then got killed at Resca. So I'm going to give you a couple more seconds there, and you kind of read his information there. And we talked about him being aide-de-camp there. And he was aide-de-camp to Brigadier General R.W. Johnson. And that was probably his highest accolade. But he also had other family that was in the service too. All right, now we're going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to get onto the sword, this 1850 foot officer sword. And you can see where the shrapnel hit it right below the guard. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and we're going to move up on that next. All right, now we're back onto the foot officer sword we talked about. And you can see where the hunk of shrapnel hit it on the top mount. And he was leading his troops. And he had the sword in his hand when he was cut down that fateful day. Now the sword underneath of it, which we'll get a shot of, is, normally these officers had one or two swords. That was what we call his line sword. And it's also marked with his name on it, as this one is. And then I'm going to kind of move around into the display, and you can see some of his personal artifacts, and they'll have signs on them, so I don't have to go into explanation on what they are. And we'll just kind of move around slow so you can enjoy it. And again, for Kentucky, here in Kentucky, and I want to mention that Perryville Battlefield's 35 miles from here. And the Bottoms House was the epicenter of the battle, and he was there. The 15th Kentucky was there on the stone fence. So, you know, I have a lot of respect for this guy. So I'll let you look here a couple more seconds, and then we'll just start panning around in there, and that'll be the conclusion of the artifacts of Captain Edward Irvine McDowell, 15th Kentucky, U.S. Volunteers. All right, we got the camera repositioned here. Now we got Captain McDowell's binoculars. And I'm going to move it a little bit here. And that little wooden disc, which is a container, it's actually a soap dish. And they would carry their soap in it. And when they needed to shave, their soap would be there. I'm going to move the camera just down a little bit. There's this razor. And I'm going to stop here when we get his spurs and his smoking pipe. A lot of those guys smoked. So I'm going to leave it there for a second and let y'all look at it. Then I'm going to move on over. This is his lieutenant epaulets in the original box. And I believe they're from Louisville, Kentucky. So we're going to move up just a little bit to get them in the picture. There you go. All right. And then we'll pan up to a canteen that's also marked 15th Kentucky with original woven wool that was applied to it. And you can see the 15th Kentucky Verily that's stenciled onto it. And then that'll be the final artifact of Mr. McDowell. And I'm going to have to turn it off here a second so we can move up and readjust. Okay, we got the camera repositioned. Hope I'm not making you guys dizzy. But here's the canteen in its original cover, as we talked about. And I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see the stenciling on it. There we go. And that's the original fabric cover on the original canteen. All right, so from the old Civil War guru and all the other directors of the old Bardstown Village / Civil War Museum, and one of the most historic places in Bardstown that you can tour. And again, we're going to do these videos hopefully once a week and give you guys something to look at, you know, during our downtime. And again, y'all have a great day and stay safe.